Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to continue talking about this whole Alpo Martinez situation, man. Now, Alpo Martinez is a drug lord who lost his life on October 31st of 2021. And it was widely known that he had told on people. He had a bad reputation as far as street things were concerned. But man, dude ended up, losing his life out of nowhere. And a lot of people were surprised by it, because it seemed like Alpo Martinez had been living publicly for a while. And the movie Paid in Full made him a recognizable name in hip-hop and pop culture, man. Cameron, the rapper from Harlem, where Alpo is from, played a character that was loosely based on Alpo Martinez's own life in the 1980s drug trade, man, where he was said to be a drug lord, had a team of people, but ended up flipping on everybody and telling on people, and eventually worked out a light sentence to where he could come home and live his life, even though he was supposed to be in witness protection, went against that and went back to his home place of Harlem. Now, with all that being said, it obviously ended tragically with Alpo Martinez losing his life. Now, last night there was a breaking news story, and it was basically a report saying that the police believe they have the suspect who took Alpo Martinez's life, the person who shot and killed him that night, right? Now, the story of why this person allegedly shot and killed Alpo Martinez is just as crazy. So before we get to the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this New York Daily News story that just dropped, man. And basically, it gives an explanation of what the police believe took place that night that Alpo lost his life. And it's a bit anticlimactic, you know what I mean? Based on this story, and that's if you want to believe this story or not. Now, the headline says this. It says, Harlem drug pin, Alpo Martinez, was shot dead over minor traffic beef, NYPD sources. Now, they're saying that a source at the NYPD is saying that Alpo lost his life over a minor traffic argument. Like he got into it with somebody about two vehicles or whatnot, right? Now, the news story starts off by saying this. It says, Harlem gang lord Alberto Alpo Martinez wasn't executed for his betrayal of fellow drug dealers. He got shot because he drove like a jerk, the Daily News has learned. So they're basically saying he got shot because of, some little traffic situation, as opposed to some sort of payback from fellow drug dealers or something in his story in the past, right? Now, the story continues by saying, accused gunman Shakeem Parker, 27, nursed a months-long grudge against a well-known kingpin following a road rage confrontation over the summer. According to an NYPD source with knowledge of the case, Martinez, who had a habit of driving aggressively close to pedestrians, struck Parker with his motorcycle, the source said. So they're saying, we've seen pictures and videos on his own social media page where Alpo was driving his motorcycle. And if you look at those videos, you do see him speeding out and stuff like that. But according to this report, they said he had a habit of driving aggressively close to pedestrians. And in this case, he ran into this guy, Shakeem Parker, striking him with his motorcycle, man. I don't know, man. Just because he got hit by a motorcycle, in case he was one of them type of dudes already, to be worried about that a month later and then find him outside the club and shoot him, as opposed to just beating him up or something like that or getting his license plate. That's okay. I'll continue. Now, the story continues by saying this. It says, Parker, who was on foot at the time of the minor crash, was still seething about the incident on Halloween at around 3:20 a.m. when he saw Martinez drive by in a red Dodge Ram pickup truck in Harlem, according to the source. So they're saying a month later, dude seen him on Halloween and he was still mad that, Alpo ran into him with his motorcycle. So he said, forget it. I'm going to use this as my opportunity. Now, in quotations, it says, there's no indication that this was anything other than a crime of opportunity, said the source. So they're saying that's what he used it as. He saw him at 3:20 a.m. and said, forget it, man. This is my opportunity to get him back for running into me with his motorcycle that time, and that's what I'm going to do. So, yeah, it seems like this dude didn't have any ties to him as far as the old drug game or any of that stuff that we've seen and Paid in Full. It just happened a month prior where he ran into him with his motorcycle. Now, Martinez, or allegedly ran into him with his motorcycle. Now, Martinez Wild Pass as a gangster turned cooperator had nothing to do with his demise. The sources said Martinez had daringly flouted the rules of the Witness Protection Program by returning to his old stomping ground, where many Harlem residents had not forgotten his testimony against underlings to avoid a life sentence. So they're talking about the fact that regardless of how people viewed him in the street, he still went back to Harlem and made it, and was living there, and obviously got back into doing other things according to this report we'll see in a second. And, it was just whatever it was, man. Nobody actually stepped to him. I know he's done interviews with different entities out there and whatnot, and they're saying this had nothing to do with any of that. Like, this wasn't connected at all. And for me personally, I don't know, man. I want to call cap, but it just seems maybe dude knew it was Alpo, so that made him even more emboldened to do it. Like, okay, people in the hood don't like him anyway, so let me go do this allegedly, and I'm not saying that he did it. He's a suspect at this time, so it's all alleged. You're innocent until proven guilty, right? But I don't know, something seems funny. But the story continues by saying this. It says, the source added that in his final moments, Martinez, 55 years old, tossed out bags of drugs out of his truck, a sign that he was not quietly living life under a new identity as Abraham Rodriguez of Lewistown, Maine. Now, that is the identity he was supposed to be living under. His name was supposed to be changed under the Witness Protection Program, allegedly, as Abraham Rodriguez, and he was supposed to be living in Maine, so where he could be safe and, he live out his days for the rest of the day there. And he said, forget that. Went back to Harlem, allegedly, and just started to, I guess, get back into the same things, man, according to this report. Now, the report goes on to say Parker was so bitter that he kept pictures of Martinez and crime scene photos from news reports on his phone, prosecutors said. Now, hold up, man. So, I don't know, man. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping here. But dude was so mad about the traffic incident that he kept pictures of him for a month, and he took pictures of the phone from the crime scene? Like, who would take pictures of the phone from the crime scene unless you were using that later to show somebody, Is that like a memento? Like, he ran into me with his motorcycle, so I'm going to keep it? I don't know, man. I'm getting a weird feeling about this story, man. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. Now, let me continue. It says, the motive for the slaying was almost disappointing, given Martinez's history. The source said the drug dealer was so famous that the rapper Cameron portrayed him in the 2002 film Paid in Full. Now, they were even able to talk to Alpo's lawyer that defended him back when he caught his case. I think it was like in 1990. And he talked about the situation and how it ended, and how, he had every opportunity basically, to live his life out somewhere else. And then he ran into this situation where it was just a happenstance. He had a traffic situation with another guy. He accidentally almost hit him with his motorcycle. And then it led to somebody catching him like a month later and then shooting him, man. It's crazy, man. Now, the story also talks about these 5 points I want to talk about before we close out here. It says that investigators were able to track Martinez and Parker's movements prior to the shooting. And you know how they did that. They used their cell phones, obviously. Now, Martinez had been partying that night at the Legends Lounge nearby, prosecutors said. Parker, who is known as Bunky, visited a deli in Harlem at 2:49 a.m., where he met up with his brother. He was captured on surveillance video chatting with his friends before happening to notice Martinez driving by in the truck, the source said. So they're saying he was at a deli to meet his brother at 2:49 a.m. in Harlem. Okay. Then he was outside talking with his friends, and he ended up seeing Alpo, and then that's when he decided to make a move. Now, in quotes, it says, it looks like they were standing there in front of, like, there he is, the sources said. So I'm assuming they're using video evidence to track this. Now, it goes on to say Parker, and that's the suspect in this case, fired 3 shots into the driver's side window of the truck, turned away, and then turned back and fired twice more, prosecutor Jung Park said at the suspect's arraignment on Friday. Bullets struck Martinez's arm, with one driving into his chest, piercing his heart. Photos show Martinez's bullet-ridden pickup vehicle with 5 bullet holes in the window. Martinez lurched forward, throwing packets of drugs out of the window as he drove before crashing into another car and falling unconscious on Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard near West 145th Street, the police source said. The story also says the crime scene was riddled with .40 caliber shell casings. The motorist in the car struck by Martinez called 911. Cops and medics tried to revive Martinez, but he died just after reaching Harlem Hospital. Now, authorities initially struggled to confirm Martinez's identity. His truck had temporary Texas plates that could not be traced, and he was carrying a Maine driver's license identifying him as Abraham Rodriguez. Now, that's the identity he was given in the witness protection program. An informant tipped off a detective that the victim was actually Martinez. A fingerprint check confirmed his identity. By then, word got around Harlem the afternoon, and people were celebrating according to this story. Different people throughout this story. But so far, it looks like, they've arrested the suspect. He was actually arrested and been taken to court. He had a little run-in while he was there, I guess at the 32nd Precinct Station House. And right now, he's on Rikers, and he's going to be facing this charge and the weapons charge. Now, originally, they actually got him for the weapons charge not too far after or too long after the shooting. And he's been waiting for them to press charges against him for this since then. So that's why it took a little time. But what do you guys think about this ending to the whole Alpo Martinez situation? And what do you guys think about this story that he ran into the guy, a month prior and almost hit him with his motorcycle, or it clipped him or something happened where they had a little traffic incident? And that led this guy to wait a month later to find an opportunity to shoot and kill Alpo, allegedly. And doesn't this make for a little anticlimactic ending to this whole story? You know what I mean? It's kind of weird, right? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.